Good morning, seniors. It's probably afternoon by now. Um, so I think this is my first video just for you guys. So that's kind of exciting. And I just wanted to review what we've done the past few weeks and then get into really our last unit of the year is reading 1984. And I think this is hopefully going to be a new novel for everybody. I haven't read it before. I started reading it a few weeks ago, and I think it's going to be a good way to end our year. I know we talked a little bit about doing Frankenstein, and I was really excited for that, and Brave New World, and I was really excited for that, but apparently you guys have read everything. That I thought you hadn't. So I'm really excited about 1984. I think it's going to be really good and appropriate for the climate that we're living in right now. So I think it's going to be full of a lot of good stuff. Before we get really into 1984, though, I just wanted to let you know that your discussion board posts reviewing the different criticisms for your independent reading have been really good. I've really enjoyed getting to watch you guys learn how to view literature through different lenses. And I know it's something that we've come back to throughout the year, and I hope that you see the importance of it, that when you get to college and you're given go read this novel on your own and write an essay about the characters. You have so many different lenses, so many stances that you know how to take to tackle that assignment and come up with something that's going to be really insightful and have some really quality analysis in it. And I think that those viewpoints are so helpful, not just for literature. I think they're really helpful for life, for media, for current events as well, that when you're looking at something that's complex and layered, there's always so many different ways to look at it and so many different points of view to consider. So anyways, I just wanted to say I've really loved reading your discussion board posts, and they make me really want to read some of your books. So anyways, great job. We're going to move into 1984. Um, And okay, let's just get started. So hopefully you found the document. It's called, I think, 1984 Lessons, maybe week 1 lessons. And it's a PDF that was attached to your RenWeb lesson plans. So in RenWeb, if you're just looking at the homework, I think you need to go to the lesson plans section and you'll find attached documents there. So that's where you'll find the PDF for this week. So in there, you'll see that there's 4 different kind of activities that we're starting with this week. The first is a writing activity just to get us thinking about freedoms that we have right now, freedoms that are denied, and how our current climate or how our current freedoms are kind of different than our normal. And whether that's okay or not, whether you're willing to give up a few freedoms for the good of the population, for the good of people around you with compromised immunity, and kind of where you land politically on the legality of all of this. So I'm really excited to read what you think in those writing activities. So following that, there's parts 2 and 3, which give you a few different videos on YouTube and some accompanying questions and prompts to go along with those. And that's just going to give us some good background and overview information before we start to read the novel itself. So in the document, I gave you a link to a free PDF of the book online. And it's fine. The type is good. It's big. It's a really doable PDF. It's not like, say, Project Gutenberg that feels really computery. But if you're like me and you just really need a paper book in your hand, you can see this is just Amazon. and you can order them online for pretty cheap, and if you have Prime, it'll come, like, you can get it by Wednesday. So if you want to order your own copy, please go ahead and do so. The school has copies in that great book room, but we're not really allowed to go in and pass those out. So you're on your own this time, but it is available online and you can get it for pretty cheap if you want a paper copy. I think that would be helpful, especially for tracking quotations, but again, that's just up to you. I plan on ordering one today. Okay, so reviewing part 4 of this week is we're just going to begin to read the novel, the first 3 chapters of part 1. And as we read, we are going to look at 2 different things. The first is that we're going to be tracking themes and quotations, textual evidence that support those themes, and start to explain the author's stance, the lesson on that topic. And this really isn't something that's new for us. We've done this multiple times this year, so hopefully it's not too confusing or intimidating. So as you read, you're going to be looking for quotations for passages that relate to some of the different themes on that list. You don't need to hit all of them. I think it would be easier if you focused on maybe 3 or 4 and just kept those on your radar. You'll find plenty for any of them on the list. But the other thing about quotations is, number 1, make sure that you cite them. Whether you're using the ebook or excuse me, or the paperback, if you order it on Amazon, you need to cite your quotations. So if you use the PDF that I sent you, it has page numbers on there, and those are the page numbers that you'll use to cite each and every one of your quotes. The second thing about quotations is that I have a Shmoop too. I know Shmoop. I love Shmoop. And I am sure that it is very helpful for a lot of things, but if you turn in a list of 10 quotations, all of which I can find myself on Shmoop, you will not get any credit for that assignment. I am asking you, your brain, and your experiences to determine the evidence that you find relevant to different themes. And if you allow Shmoop to do that thinking work for you, then, well, number 1, that's cheating, but number 2, you're not doing the assignment. So please, I'm asking you, your identity, to work on finding these quotes. Shmoop is a really great resource for augmenting comprehension, for fine-tuning some questions that you have, but there's a right way to use it and a wrong way to use it. And if you simply allow Shmoop to choose all of your quotes, that is a wrong way, and you will not get any credit for it. I know distance learning has been a whole new set of rules and a whole new set of habits and assignments, but really, plagiarism hasn't changed. I give you so many resources that are okay to use, and you still know which ones are not okay to use. So please continue to work with integrity. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to be doing with the reading is the reading questions, and these are a little bit different than the questions we've done before in that there are far fewer of them. Yay, there's only 10. For the whole part 1, there are only 10 questions. And the other way that they're different is they're not really plot driven, meaning you can't trace what happens in question 1 to what happens in question 2 to what happens in question 3. Like, they're not necessarily a timeline of the events of the book. They're bigger thematic issues and literary element issues. So they're not necessarily going to be in order. I try to put them in order, but here's what you're going to need to do. As you're reading the novel, you need to have the questions out in front of you, and every few pages just kind of pause to see where you can start to fill in some answers, where you can start to contribute notes and jot down thoughts that relate to some of the different topics. Because I really wanted to give you fewer questions, and I did. There's only 10 of them, but they might be deceptively simple. So they are going to require you to come back a few times to add to the answer, to deepen and to clarify. as you go through part one. So if you continue adding to those notes, if you return to them a few times and don't just scribble out a few lines really quickly, then you won't even really need complete sentences because your notes will have sufficient depth and content and analysis to trace the answer without any complete sentences. So I hope that was helpful and not confusing. And I am excited for us to start to read this novel together. If you have any questions, please email me. I will answer them right away. And actually, I've lost a few emails, I guess. Tech has kind of been at its capacity. So if you send me a chat over Teams, I will definitely get it like right away. Rather than sending me an email, chat will probably get you a much quicker response. The other thing is to be on the lookout for office hours. I'll schedule just a few windows this week for any questions about the reading, any novel discussion, anything like that. So if you get stuck on anything, just keep a lookout for the office hours and let me know if you have any questions.